Hey friends, thanks once again for tuning into the TCS Digital Connect. We hope you're finding our podcast series useful and informative.
Hi, this is Matt Sudol, and today I will be interviewing Balaji Ganapathy, the global head of corporate social responsibility at Tata Consultancy Services. Very excited to have this conversation today. And I feel like if I was to read your bio myself, it would fall short of the color commentary around what you actually do on a day-to-day basis. So humor me and the listeners, and what do you do?
Hey, thanks, Matt. It's a great opportunity to be here and talk to all of the listeners here. It is really rewarding to wake up every morning to work for one of the world's oldest purpose enterprises. As we all know, Tata Group was started with the notion of community not just being another stakeholder, but an integral part of the business. Today, purpose has become a central driving force for businesses across the world. And in my role as the Chief Social Responsibility Officer, um, it is at the intersection of what the community needs, what kind of solutions we can create, and how to mobilize the best of what TCS has to offer to support the community in its time of need.
In some of these conversations that we've had, people have told us that Tata is the first purpose-driven company in history. What does that mean to you? Why would someone say something that amazing about Tata?
I think it is an important thing to note because if you look at companies around the world, Harvard Business School did this survey to understand research to understand what makes companies successful. And what they realized is that the average life of a Fortune 500 company is about 27 years. Okay. And here we have a company and an enterprise that has been in existence for 151 years and counting. And if you look at the fundamentals of what makes an individual and a team or organization successful, I think that sense of purpose of doing something not just to benefit yourself, but in doing that, benefiting the larger community around you, whether it is your own families, whether it is the neighborhood and the locations where you live and work, or people who are lesser equipped to support themselves than we are. So I think it is a really important understanding we need to have that being one of the oldest purpose-driven enterprises is not just a great tag to have. I think it is something that we can carry around with pride.
I feel the same type of pride and passion when I hear about the programs that we do every day, and of course, you being able to review them and get involved with them. It must just be amazing. Can you speak a little bit about your bio and just growing up and how you ended up here? Because I think a lot of our listeners would appreciate that journey that you've gone through and pivoting from different roles and landing here, because I think that again it's just at least it's very inspiring.
I think you're being very kind. I sort of stumbled into this space. Okay, growing up, I had the aspiration to be in the Indian Air Force. I ended up becoming an engineer, which is what most Indians at that time were doing, either become an engineer or a doctor. And I couldn't stand, doing the dissections and ended up in the engineering track. But things took a little bit of a different turn after my engineering, and I became an entrepreneur, which was not common in the 90s when it is not the kind of startup environment that we have today, startup friendly environment. So there were a lot of live lessons to be learned during those years when I was knocking on the doors of manufacturing companies and process driven organizations to help them with their mechanical and process consulting needs. And then I made a pivot in my career at that point to move into a human resources space because I realized that the best solutions that we put on the process side don't work if people don't really adopt change. And that was the transition point in my career. And then for the past 16, 17 years or so, I've been with TCS, initially in a human resources leadership role in India, and then in a business leadership role in the US, and now, in this global leadership role for our community initiatives. The sense of doing something that leaves a legacy and makes things better for others is, I think, it is a notion that all of us carry, right? The notion of service, the notion of gratitude. But I think I've been fortunate that an organization like TCS, I was able to play six or seven different careers within the company during these last 2 decades.
Thank you for that. And I think as we look at the pivoting and the transition that you've made in your career, I'd love to talk a little bit about some of our current programs, and even TCS Empowers and what that actually means. If you could kind of unpack that for me.
Yeah, I think, we are in a very interesting moment in time. Again, I think the COVID crisis is showing us and really, I think, shining the light on the inequities that exist in society and what has contributed to those inequities. And it is also, on the other side, giving people an opportunity to understand and participate in changing the status quo. Right. So, I mean, it is my belief that purpose is the new tech, right? In the early part of the millennium, every company wanted to be a tech company, right? Whether you are in retail, whether you are in hospitality, airline company, or you're an insurance or a bank, you wanted to be known as a tech company, not just because it was the cool thing, but also because digital technologies were transforming and are transforming the way we live and work. But to me, purpose is a new tech because digital cannot drive itself. It needs a strong force and anchor to give it direction. And it is the purpose of why a company exists, whom it serves, and how it does that that defines the very soul and the nature of what companies are all about. So, in this whole sense of purpose being the new tech, TCS is, positioned in an amazing place because as a technology leader, we've been innovating and creating solutions for our customers for over 50 years, right? We have great awareness of technology. We have great awareness of businesses and also of markets and what are needed to solve some of the toughest problems that our customers face. And we have amazing talent internally that is able to solve those problems. Now, if we were to think of the community and people in the community as a customer, TCS Empowers is all about bringing the best of what TCS has to offer to help uplift the people and the communities. Look, I spoke earlier about the inequities that exist. It is my belief, it is TCS's belief that providing access to opportunities in the digital economy is a big step in bridging those inequities. Think of your case, think of me and all of the listeners who are coming from the education sector and moving into a new job in the coming weeks and months and years ahead. Now, each of you have the ability to really transform your career and your life because of access to this sort of a digital economy. But if you look at the world at large, a large portion of people in the world do not have access to those opportunities. And the barriers, the traditional barriers that prevent people from accessing new jobs, new careers, new entrepreneurial streams are very common. It is lack of basic literacy skills, lack of the digital skills, having skills but not having access to employment, and not having the entrepreneurial skills to go into business on your own, right? Yes, there are fundamental things like access to water, clean water, sanitation, food, healthcare. Those are fundamental problems, and TCS is working to solve those problems. But the pathways that we can create are around education, skilling, entrepreneurship, and employment. And that is the power of TCS Empowers, is to create those pathways, especially for those who are marginalized, women, youth, and those from vulnerable communities.
I think this message around TCS Empowers is inspiring to our listeners and to young people, people that are starting out their career, trying to figure out what direction they want to go. Maybe they're engineers. What would you say to them in terms of advice or what they could do to take that passion for helping, but not really knowing what to do with that passion?
Yeah, I think there is a tremendous opportunity for young people to participate, not just in being the voice of reason and showing the world what is most important, which is what a lot of the revolutions in the last several years have been about, right? Young people using social media and other communication channels to bring to the forefront issues like racial injustice, social issues, and I think what can happen is to go beyond being a voice to being a actual advocate or a catalyst for change. And within TCS, those opportunities are very clear. In this area of education, skills, entrepreneurship, and employment, TCS has created programs where employees can participate in being part of the solution and in part of a solution that is highly scalable, right? It is great to do something that you can do once, right? Like the saying goes, if you want to feed a person for a day, you give them food, but if you want to uh, help them for a lifetime, teach them how to farm and how to cook, right? I think the way in which TCS has approached the programs that we create is the latter notion that we can create programs that are highly scalable. If you think about young people in the school system in India and around the world who don't have access to mentors and role models, who are stuck in a system that is not able to keep pace with the changes that are happening in the business and in the world of work, every person who is joining TCS has the answers within themselves of how they navigated that path, how they overcame all of the obstacles that were thrown at them. And it is that knowledge of that experience of going through that journey themselves and having the skills that have earned them a position within TCS, they can use that same skills, that same experience to help others. And that is how we have structured our programs, whether it is Go IT, which is addressing middle school students all around the world, or youth employment program, which is helping especially students from rural institutions, both engineering and non-engineering students from across India, or Bridge IT, which is helping young entrepreneurs blossom in their own villages and start their own business and flourish and create opportunity for themselves, their family, and their village. Several opportunities for our employees or for young people to get engaged and be that catalyst, be that change maker.
Yeah, I think young people want to be that change. They want to be a part of that movement, and they want to find self-actualization and be a part of that. Thank you, Balaji. Thank you for this time, and thank you to everyone who's listening, and more to come for sure. Check out tcsempowers.com and just stay engaged, everybody. This is a great moment in time to step up and step out and be a doer.
Thank you, friends, for tuning into the TCS Digital Connect. Eager for the next episode? Well, stay safe and stay connected at Campus Commune for more.